This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 595 from March 18th, 2019. Really good Handfeel.
Some solid schluting there.
Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me, as always, is Moonpeer.
Bonjour, mon ami.
A little bit of programming news here. We just finished recording yesterday the Game Club episode for Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, which I said at the beginning of that episode. I sincerely hope this holds true. 2019's saddest game. I know it came out in like 2013, but hopefully the saddest game we will play this year. Real super bummer.
Last Day of June is still up there for me. I don't know which one's
both
worse.
of those games, like, that's a 1-2 punch of just, hey, life sucks and everyone dies. Surprise!
Yeah.
So our next game, as voted by patrons, is going to be Super Hot, which
Super hot.
I'm fairly sure is not a depressing, introversion on life. But hey, who knows? We got 30 levels to find out, I guess.
Yep. 2 hours, apparently.
Yeah, not super long, which is also really appreciated, because I am super addicted to one game that we will talk about this week, which is a great way of saying, Moonpeer, let's get started here.
Well, it's the game that we're all been playing. It's the game that we've all been talking about. Mm-hmm. It's Anthem, folks. So
yes.
I played a bunch of Anthem.
I was going to ask you about that this week.
So I got to the first brick wall.
Yeah, the open the tombs.
Yes, I hit that, and then I realized that I played it after a bunch of patches, so they might have changed it. Mm-hmm. But I already had like 2 of them completely done, and one of them 3/4 done, and one of them not anywhere close to being done.
Yeah, they changed that for the first real big patch that came out. That originally, I guess, because this happened during the early access period, I guess when you got that quest, then it started counting them. Mm-hmm. What they patched in was it counts it from when you start the game, which is way better.
Yes, the way it should have been.
Yes.
So I'm still in the middle of doing that because I only played it a little bit. Everybody seems to have moved on to different schlooters this week,
right?
Which we will talk about.
Right.
But to be honest, it's going to be one of those games that I will chip away at slowly. I will play it at my pace because, to be honest, I'm kind of fed up of burning myself out on a game by just stonewalling it the very first week it comes out, and then
right, like 30 hours the first 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we were talking about this with Mac while playing a different game. That cost me with Destiny 1. It cost me with Destiny 2. Both of those games, we went in, we stonewalled them over the course of a weekend, and then we were done with them, and we were not interested in any further development after that, because we were like, okay, well, we've done everything, and we didn't feel like having that distance from 2 days into the release to first big DLC coming out made me not interested in the slightest in the DLC, because it was like, it's been 6 months and I haven't touched the game, so why would I go back and put more money in?
And the loot treadmill never grabbed you for any of these games, so it's not like, well, here's the end game content that I'll keep repeating to get better loot to be ready for whatever. Like, that never grabbed you. Which
exactly
is definitely understandable.
The only time that's ever really grabbed me is when it didn't matter, and that was Borderlands. It's like, oh, okay, I got a better gun, I'll do that. It never felt necessary on that side of things for me to actually go into it. But I played a little bit of Anthem, and the game's still gorgeous. Like, I played with a couple of randos and did a couple of missions, and it went relatively smoothly. But it's Anthem. At this point, most people have probably stopped playing it, and I will continue to play it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them. BioWare seems very committed to it, and I have not uninstalled it, and I will definitely be checking it out when they not fix, but I think when they figure out what direction they really want to go. I know a lot of people are clamoring for like, where's new content, and that feels really soon. But I don't think it's. I'm hoping BioWare will get there.
Yeah, I think BioWare will. It's if EA gives them the chance to get there is the biggest scare of that factor.
Well, and I think whether or not people want to come back. You know, not every game is going to have a redemptive arc like No Man's Sky.
Yeah, although I think No Man's Sky never really got that huge explosion that it got before it came out. I don't think it ever got back to that level again.
I think when they put Next out, I think that was when people came back and they're like, oh, there's a lot to do in this game. Like, this is a proper thing now. Like, this is a real experience. And they put out a couple of big patches right after that put like underwater base building and stuff like that. And I think that's retained a lot of people.
Yeah.
And then they just announced this new thing where it's like, we're putting in crazy new multiplayer. Like, we're really fleshing that out. It's like, oh, wow, okay. Like, you just keep working on it. That's really good.
No, good for them. I mean,
that's where I'd like to see BioWare go. Yeah.
If they can flesh it out more, but put a bunch more stuff in it over time, then that's fine. I've got no problem doing that. I ain't gonna buy loot crates or anything for it.
No.
I have never been a cosmetic person. I am not like you. I don't need every single banner. I don't need every single dangly thing.
And I think when you look at stuff like another game we'll talk about, and Anthem, I think when you look at their cosmetics, Anthem especially, a lot of that stuff just isn't great. Like, when I look at Destiny 2, I can get an exotic armor piece skin that looks way different in a cool way, or I can get a funny dance that is very different from what I normally have. And I think for something like Anthem, you can get like a different texture for your armor that doesn't make a big enough difference, at least for the first couple of sets of ones they had, where it's like, oh, that sort of looks different, but that's not really majorly. It's not like you bought the color pink, and it's like, oh, now I can, which is good, because you can just do that at a hand, but the stuff that they're selling is sort of like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
I care more about the emotes because my guy is a space wizard, essentially. He doesn't come from the moon. He might be named Moon, but he doesn't come from the moon.
Right.
And he does a fancy bow when he finishes a mission because I thought it suits with the cloak. So I'm more interested in that kind of stuff. My favorite emote of all time will still forever be the Division 1 had a looking for group emote. My wife got it from one of the crates, one of the late game loot crates. And literally your character pulls out a piece of cardboard and it's got an image of two people like with a line between us, like need help, ? And it just holds it up
so
and
good.
does like this.
It's like waving it around.
Waiting at the airport for someone to come out of the gate.
That's
kind of
really
thing.
good.
It was so good. And it was like, okay, that's the best emote I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. It's a bummer that I don't think Division 1 had interactive emotes between multiple people, right?
I did not know.
Okay, yeah, because Destiny 2 just introduced that recently where, like, someone can hold up their hand for a high five and you can come in and, like, you as another person will high five that person. You do chest bump and stuff like that. It'd be really cool if in the Division 1 you could hold up that sign, someone would just walk up to you and party up with you.
That's pretty cool. I mean,
that's the future of loot shooters.
Yeah, that always takes me back to Rec Room, the Giant Bombs coverage of Rec Room specifically, where they're just messing around, throwing stuff, doing stupid role play, and then they're like waving to each other, and then one guy's like, okay, let me fist bump you, and puts up a fist, and Jeff Gersman gives him a fist bump, and that's how you join a party with somebody, is by fist bumping them.
That's so good.
And the whole room exploded and they just completely lost their mind. It was like, VR is worth it. It was worth it. The entire thing was worth it just for this one moment of naturally fist bumping somebody, and it's like, party joined, and it's like,
that's so good. Oh man.
Yeah, I know Sea of Thieves does something like that as well, where it's like, if you do a certain emote to somebody, it's like, I need friends is what the emote's called, and they do it back to you. it pops up their gamer tag on the add friend screen.
Oh, cool. That's
which
smart.
is a really nice little touch, but that Rec Room fist bump will forever be emblazoned in my memory as one of the best moments in video game history.
Sea of Thieves is another game that it's nice to see a developer continue to stick with it and get the support of their publisher, because Sea of Thieves is turning out to be a really great experience that started off very thin. I don't think anyone will disagree with that, but it's really getting into a cool thing now.
Well, it started 2019 as the most streamed game, like the most watched game on Twitch. It's like, how? How does that happen in 2019?
Right.
So, I mean, good on them. Like, good on them for supporting that kind of stuff. But yes, my second game this week, Doom 2016. Boston.
I know.
Load the game.
I know.
Stick it on the easiest difficulty. It will take you at most 4 or 5 hours. Okay.
Now you're talking my language.
Because I beat the game already. I beat it the year it came out. This topic has come up a lot recently. I did not put that high enough on its top 10 the year that game came out.
Right.
I was wrong. I think at the time I was only a little bit through it and I never went back and gave it the props it deserved the year after.
Mm-hmm.
Doom 2016 is one of the best games I've played.
Now I'm looking up my top 10 for 2016.
I think I stick it at number 9. Like, I'm not happy with that positioning.
Yeah, we just looked up when we were recording Game Club. We were talking about what our top 10 of 2013 was.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I was so wrong in 2016.
What was your top one?
Top one was Quantum Break, which I wouldn't change. Quantum Break, as far as I'm concerned, stays there. Here are games I put up. Let's just talk about 2016 being an amazing year of games.
Yeah, boy.
Quantum Break, Gears of War 4, top down this is. Battlefield 1 should be lower.
Yeah.
The Division.
Okay.
That's genuinely a great game, but it didn't deserve to be that high in 2016.
Pretty high for launch Division 1.
Yes, it should have been lower. FIFA 17, I'm fine holding that where it is because I played that a lot with my wife, and it's one of those games where when you play it with your wife, it's great. Hitman at number 6, which should have been probably higher, but I barely touched her at that point.
Yeah.
Titanfall 2 is number 8.
2020 gives hindsight gives that one a lot of love. Titanfall 2 is so good.
And Doom is number 9.
Wow, yeah.
That's 2 2016 shooters, which as far as I'm concerned, I did a disservice to, because Titanfall 2 is one of the best single-player campaigns released in at least 10 years or so.
Yeah.
And Doom is right there with her, because, as I mentioned, I've already beat the game. I did the first level on the hardest difficulty to get the difficulty-related achievement, which I did by jumping through the scenery and just skipping to the end, so
it's nice.
Fun. And so I'm going through it now, replaying it for collectibles. Like, it's got data logs, it's got all this kind of stuff. So I'm just going through the levels. I'm getting the collectibles as I go. I stuck it down on the easiest difficulty. People don't hate you on the easiest difficulty, dude. Like, honestly, it's so easy. It's unbelievable. And I'm sitting there playing it and thinking, this music is amazing. The gameplay is fantastic.
So good.
It looks amazing. The lore that they somehow inserted into Doom after how many years is incredible.
Yep.
And all I'm thinking while I'm playing it is, Boston needs to put this on the easiest difficulty and fly through the game. Because this is a game that will speak to you more than it speaks to me. Because I don't have love for Doom. The original Doom I've got no passion for, because...
Yeah, and growing up with Doom and Doom 2 as a primarily PC gamer is just... Those were so good. And there's actually another plug here for a site we are not affiliated with at all, just to remind everyone. PSprices.com. If you have PlayStation Gold right now, it is $12.
I think you mean PlayStation Plus.
That one. Yep. Xbox Plus and PlayStation Gold.
Yep, the way it should be.
Yep.
Well, yeah. Even though I have put it on the top 10 list in the past, Boston, can I nominate this for a best old game this year, even though it's already been on my top 10 list?
Sure, yeah. Let's talk more about Doom. Why not?
Because
it's stupid good.
It's so good.
Yeah.
My biggest concern would be motion sickness and nausea with you right now, because the game...
Yeah, because it is fast.
It runs really, really quick.
Yeah.
But please go give it a try. If you can make it through Kingdom Hearts...
That's fair.
You can play Doom.
Yeah. I can keep it down for 4 hours for Doom.
I never thought I would say that sentence out loud.
I need to find it again. I bet it's in this box that behind me that we went through on stream the other day.
It probably is. But,
yeah.
I mean, honestly, it's like 4 to 6 hours. You can fly through it on the easiest difficulty. You don't have to do any of the other additional BS aside.
Right.
You're not a hunter like me, so you're not going to go for the collectibles. You're not going to care about any of that kind of stuff. So...
I do like you're a Marine fist bumping the tiny Doom Marine, though. That's
probably
really
one of my favorite moments in video games.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's hard to put into words how great it was just going back and playing through these games. Like, I've got a video for collectible walkthroughs, and it's just like, I kind of just want to get the collectibles and then just do a very quick run through the game. Because it just has that presence where it's like, this is how good the game can possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird steps you have to take from Master of Puppets and that era of heavy metal that have then been turned into MIDI mixes for the original Doom, because E1M1 is essentially Master of Puppets, I think.
Yep. It's one of those, yeah.
Changed slightly so they can't get sued for it.
Right.
And then hearing that then reimagined into a 2016 hardcore heavy metal like remix of that. It's like a remix of a remix, and it's somehow still so good. Please, Boston, go and play this game.
I will. I will find it, and I will reinstall it on my PS4 because it's huge now. It's hundreds of gigs.
There is a reason why I'm doing the collectibles to get the achievements to get this thing off my hard drive.
Sort by size.
Yes.
Yeah.
Literally, that's how my Xbox is organized right now.
God, I actually don't know if I have enough space on my PS4 right now. I'll have to go look. I have some stuff I can probably delete. Yeah.
But yeah, Doom. If you haven't, at this point, if you haven't played Doom 2016, and this goes to you listeners and to you, Boston.
Hey.
Go and play it. It's cheap at this point. You know the sequels are right around the corner at some point within the next couple of years.
Yeah, Doom 2 is coming out. They'll probably show it pretty heavily at E3 this year.
Yep, and Bethesda are the type of people who do, here is the biggest trailer, by the way, it comes out in 3 months.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, hey, we're showing it, it comes out in September.
It wouldn't surprise me if that thing is out later this year, so please give it a go.
Just during the break, we'll look in this box behind me and we'll see if we can find it.
Okay, I hope so, because it's one of those things where you need to play it. Like, out of the two of us, like, I've got no love.
There are a lot of video game related shames of games I've missed, like Super Metroid. I've never played. Let's just start knocking some of those games out.
Honestly, it's been rattling around in my brain is I need to do a greatest hits of video games that I've missed. At some point, I might end up speaking to the community about it, because I've never played any Final Fantasy before 7.
Okay.
And I know, especially over here in America, Final Fantasy 2/4, whichever one it is.
4, yeah.
Is widely regarded as one of the best Final Fantasies. I've never played it.
Oof. Yeah, 4 is good. 6 is really good.
I've never played Final Fantasy Tactics, the first one.
Oh God, it's so good.
It's so good. I've never played before the new one any of the Toe Jam and Ale games.
Right. Well, thankfully, there's only one other one you need to play.
I have a legacy of movies and video games that, due to whatever reason, be it being in England or whatever, I did not play. But I can guarantee you never played Super Monaco GP for the Amstrad.
No, yeah.
And that was kind of a huge game over in England. Like, you probably never played Football Manager. I grew up playing
No, unfortunately not. I want to play Football Manager so bad. Well, it sounds like we're coming up with a brand new series right here and right now. Everyone submit your ideas for names.
It's been rattling around in my head for the past, like, I think ever since it was when it was 8th anniversary on Twitter. And everybody was talking about the Final Fantasies that they loved.
Yeah.
And we went down a rabbit hole of, like, RPGs I've never played. It's like, it's not just RPGs. Like, I've never played the original Doom from start to finish. I've played the first 2 levels because everybody seems to have.
Yeah, everyone had the shareware.
I've played the first level of Deus Ex and never played any of the rest of that game. You know, it's...
I already have a show title for it. We should just call it TVGP Top 100. Like the IMDb Top 100.
Yes. But no, it's I've been thinking about it a lot, and it's something that I feel like I could do. And addition to that, I could legally do with the amount of re-releases and things like that are coming out these days.
Yeah.
So there is a potential for it. It's just time and investment wise. Like, I'd have to think about that kind of stuff. But like I said, it's something that's been on my mind a lot. Like you said, the IMDb top 250 of video games essentially is what I'm thinking. And
like some of these required reading books or required reading games where it's like, you know, you should have played X, Y, and Z. You should have played some of these games.
Like Super Metroid is a good example. Everybody...
Yep. I love Metroidvanias. Why haven't I played Super Metroid?
I've never played it either.
Yeah.
I've never played the first Metroid. I've never played Zelda 2. I don't think I ever played Zelda 1. Like, my first Zelda was Link's Awakening, which is...
Oh, it's so good.
Thank you, Nintendo, for the re-release coming out, because
thank you, Nintendo.
It's my first Zelda, and I love that thing.
That's a great game.
But yes, Boston needs to play Doom 2016.
Yes.
Everybody does, but Boston specifically does. My final game this week, because it's that kind of week where everybody plays the same game for a while, and I know you've been playing this. Mm-hmm. Because somebody got it 4 days early because they're a big show off. Yeah, I got the gold edition.
I bought the gold edition and it unlocked at midnight your time, which is 9 p.m. my time. And we have a very funny story to talk about that.
Okay. Well, yes, for those who don't know, it's The Division 2. So,
Tom Clancy's registered trademark, The Division 2 TM.
Yes, which that's fun when you're searching alphabetically in your games, let me tell you.
Right.
The amount of
first off, before we get
Siege, and it's like, no, I need to look in T, not S. I need to look in not R, not whatever. It's like, no, Siege.
Before we get into it real quick, we do have a clan on every platform. It's called TVGP Peeps. TVGP space Peeps with the clan tag of TVG. I was frustrated creating the clan because they will not let you use numbers, so I couldn't go with E1M1 like the Destiny 2 one, which I really like. So that was a bummer. Massive cough. But big props. I'm running the PS4 one. Moon is running the Xbox version because they're not cross-platform, which is probably fine because they only fit 50 people. And then Soulman is running the PC one. So you want to find it. It's the same name and same tag on each platform.
Yep. I don't know about your banners. Mine is purple and green, and it has a wolf.
No, but that's way cooler than the one I have. I'm going to have to go do that. Man, take a picture of that. I'll recreate that. So Moon ran into the same thing where we had a lot of discussions before this came out with how do we create the clan? Because with Destiny 2, or the original Destiny, created on the website, even before the game came out, it's cross-platform. Like, it's done and it's solved. We found out that you have to unlock them in the game, and Massive's thing they said early was, well, you'll unlock it really early in the game. I'm like, well, that's fine. I'll buy the gold edition. I'll create it so by the time it comes out on Friday, or if anyone grabs the gold or ultimate edition, I'll be able to create it really easily. We'll all start getting clan XP really quickly. Yep. I found a posting on Reddit that day it came out. Someone had... Basically, a bunch of people at PC had used a VPN to play it, quote-unquote, in New Zealand. They had, like, the whole day to play it. Someone said, here's the steps of the missions you need to do in order to unlock this person. She'll let you create the clan. It'll only take you about 50 minutes. I was like, 50 minutes? It unlocks for 9 p.m. my time, put the kid to bed, like started at 10. I was like, 50 minutes? I can knock this out real easy. I'll spend some time in the character creator. It'll be great. 2.5 hours later, I'm just unlocking this person, fast traveling my way back to the White House and creating the clan.
Yep, pretty
50 minutes later, my butt.
Yep, that's exactly what I said yesterday. Soon, like pre-show for Game Club, it was the third sentence out of my mouth was 50 minutes my buttocks, except not phrased politely. And
of course, this was without preamble, so it's not like, hey, the Division 2. It's just like, hey, 50 minutes. And it's just like, yeah, man.
Yep.
I know.
But yes, we got them up and running. I haven't played a lot. I played a little bit because I played that mostly... yes. My wife and I started it at the same time, so I didn't start it until 10 p.m. on Friday.
Okay.
50 minutes, that's fine. I get done by midnight. No,
yeah, I'll go to bed early.
So my wife ended up calling it early, and so I stayed up and soloed all the way through to getting the clan person done. You sent me a
text at like 11 o'clock my time, so it was like 1 o'clock?
It was late my time, and it was like, great. So it's up, it's running, that's fine. Go to bed. Played a bit more yesterday with my wife. Basically went through the same missions I went through the night before to unlock the clan person.
Gotcha.
So we could get her into the clan as well. So minimal experience with the game as a whole so far. I haven't played it today yet. So, Boston.
Yes.
This is the Division 1.
Yeah, like this is part of what I want to talk about because I've played a lot of the Division 2. The asterisk there is I haven't made a lot of progress, and we'll talk about why. But I haven't played the Division 1 at all, and you did, and you liked a lot of it sort of at launch and then coming back to it much later. So I'm very curious to hear from you what the difference is, because reading a lot of stuff from the community is there are differences between the two, but a lot of them seem pretty positive.
There are positive changes, there are negative changes.
Okay.
So, as we all want to do, while playing with my wife, we tend to come up with loadouts that we both enjoy and will suit a specific role in a squad. For example, in Division 1, she was the healer, whereas I was the fortifier and things like that. So I put up, like, in Division 1, it was like you put a thing down and it reinforces defenses within a certain area of you. So cover is better and you gain stats while you're behind that cover.
Cool. Okay.
And then she would play as the healer, so then if anybody was low on health, she'd be the one throwing out med kits and things like that.
Right.
We started this game. I don't like the abilities. Like, a lot of the abilities I do not like.
Those are like the 8 skills, like the high-level skills, like turret and drone and hive
left
and
bumper,
stuff like
right
that.
bumper stuff, yeah.
Gotcha.
So, number 1, the hive is creepy. Because
hive is weird. That will be the last one I unlock. I know it's super useful, and I know someone will yell at us and say, like, the one that brings you back is great because you drop it when you die. Okay.
That's not a good thing. As far as I'm concerned...
Resurrecting?
Yes, that's a very bad thing.
There's a reason Bungie took it out between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2.
Oh, no, resurrecting is a good thing. We'll talk about the issues with that in a second.
Self-resurrecting is a problem I have in these games.
So, you could do it in the first one, as long as in the first one, if you had the health pack, you start with the base health pack, and then you choose a mod for it, which gives it a secondary ability. So, it's the health pack that you throw on the ground, and it heals people within that range. And then the secondary ability could be a reviver ability. So if someone was 3 covers in front of you, you throw this big health pack in front of you. As long as that person's in the zone, it revives them and then heals them when they get up. Because it's a secondary and a primary ability.
I have no problems with one unit reviving another one remote. That's not the problem I have.
If you were the healer yourself and you dropped it next to you before you went down, it would also revive you.
Okay, not bad.
So, but that's using a skill to to do the healing thing.
You're like timing it right so that you do it as you perish, and then it brings you back up.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
The thing I don't like about this one is, well, number one, the hive is creepy. I get this whole thing towards nano machines and mini bots and stuff like that. We're heading into Metal Gear territory way too quick.
It's always nano machines, man.
But the hive thing is weird because it comes out like 3 glow sticks flying around and then poops into somebody, and that just creeps me out, that animation.
Yeah.
The reviver is a problem because my wife started out using the reviver loadout. Like, she didn't buy the basic hive, which was the heal. She bought the reviving loadout. So it's like, okay, now she can toss that if one of us needs to be revived. Great. Downside, she goes down. She's 2 feet away from me and easily revivable, and I can't pick her up because her reviver, which she hasn't thrown out and activated that ability, starts picking her up in a situation where I am perfectly capable of picking her up.
Right, because one of the benefits of the reviving hive is when you go down, it picks you back up automatically.
Yep, but then it uses that skill and puts that countdown back on, which early in the game is 120 seconds.
Yeah, it is. It is rough very early on, and it's sort of a bummer that you can't. I have 2 issues with it. One is it's a bummer you can't cancel it as. Like, your wife should be able to say, no, don't use this skill. Like, someone is literally right next to me.
Yep.
The other thing that is concerning for me is I feel like with there being raids in the game, that's going to be the only loadout everybody has to run. Like, you have to run Reviver, and that's a problem.
Yeah. It ended up being that way in Division 1, where at launch for Division 2, at launch for Division 1, if you had a squad, there was a squad loadout that you used, and everybody used that specific thing. Like, you had one person who did the defenses thing that I used to do. One person who did, like, the turret was essentially useless in the first one. As soon as you're doing high end stuff, the turret is useless, and a whole bunch of other stuff was just no. You ignore those. These are the 5 skills that you spread out across a squad of however many people, and you can do the raids.
Right.
It got better towards the end, where everybody, like, it started powering them all up enough to the point where, okay, now everything is useful. But I do worry about this is the Diablo way, where if you want to do a Crusader, you have to do this kind of Crusader.
Yeah, here's the perfect build.
Yeah. Exactly. The perfect build, the perfect role, the perfect items, the perfect whatever. It's like, I don't care. I want to play how I want to play.
Thankfully, that's not something we're going to have to worry about for a while, because both of us are moving through this game glacially.
Yes.
Which, for me, is purposely, mostly because of what we were just talking about earlier with Anthem, where I am really enjoying playing the Division 2. I think it controls well. I like the shooting. I like how different each gun category feels.
Yep.
I like the skills that I've picked. I'm running healing drone and just regular shooting turret. There's a bug with both of those right now where they will go away by themselves and start the cooldown, which is a bummer, and I know it's going to get fixed soon, so it's not a big ding on the game. But I've played this a lot, and I'm like level 12, and
I'm level 8 right now. Literally, like we unlocked the clans, and then I ran Maximus Prime, community member, through the same missions to unlock the clan for him, and I got him into the clan, and then, then I stopped playing, and I didn't play at all so far today. But how do you think it looks, first and foremost? Let's talk about
I think it looks really good. I don't have HDR on right now because, number one, the game is really dark.
Yes, it is.
Really, really dark.
Just so you know, turning HDR on will fix that.
Okay, I turned it on. When I turned HDR on, it was too bright, like it was a little washed out, and I just need to sit there, like, in a certain room of the White House that I know where the colors look right, and then I need to just start fiddling around with brightness and HDR and all that stuff to get it right, and then I know it'll fix itself.
I was having issues with my HDR, so I updated my TV. I ran it through a full cycle. I switched off the TV's auto detect, so I set it to HDMI 2.0, nothing else.
Right.
Then kicked back up my Xbox, restarted my Xbox, and then loaded the Division again. And just like that, I fixed it. HDR was working, which it wasn't for me for a while. When it wasn't working, and if I was in a dark place, it was impossible to see anything. I ran through the whole thing, got HDR turned on. It's so clear now. It's it's still dark, but it's not.
It's not impossible.
Exactly. It's not a black screen looking for movements to try and figure out, where the enemies are. But
have you been outside during a thunderstorm at night?
I have not yet.
Oh man, that's so good. Because it is legitimately very dark when there's rain and thunder at night, but it feels right, like it should be during a thunderstorm like that. And it's really nice to see one of these open world loot shooters with real solid weather in it. Which is probably another reason why they moved it. It takes place 7 months after the Division 1. So it's really the middle of summer, and it's nice to see in the Division 1 your options are like snow or no snow, really. But
no, it's 100% snow. It's all the Division
1 I mean, like
is.
snowfall versus no snowfall.
Oh, yeah.
For your weather effects. And in this one, you have rain, you have wind, you have the daily cycles moving. I sort of miss that Christmas gone wrong aesthetic from the Division 1 because I thought that was cool.
Yeah, and the snow makes everything so quiet as well, where it's like this calm and peaceful with the undertone of terror underneath it.
Right.
It's something my wife and I both agree on, was we miss the snow. But, I mean, the game looks beautiful anyway. Like, the game looks amazing.
Yep.
The first thing that I was thinking when I was playing it, and we were thinking about the weather, was, I bet you it smells real bad absolutely everywhere.
Yeah, the DC just stinks.
Because there's garbage everywhere. It looks like New York in the 70s. Like, there's a garbage strike, and it's just piling up in the streets.
It's dead people everywhere.
Exactly. So it's like, okay, so it might be bright and sunny, but I bet you it smells real bad 100% of the time.
I've largely been playing this as a solo game. I've run a couple of missions. I was running a couple of missions match made leading up to unlocking the clan stuff, and I thought that worked really well. Actually, I liked being able to find 3 other people, and then sort of you can fast travel to the mission you match made for, but we didn't really do that because you find so much stuff from point A to point B, which is why it's taking me forever to play this game, is because I'm going to go get this SDH loot cache, but I'm going to hit about 30 different things on the way there because, here's an alley. Here's a sewer underground. There's someone getting sacrificed. I got to stop that. And then, and 2 hours later, I go do this mission.
There's a cell phone over there. There's an echo over there. It's everywhere. There's
some loot hiding in the trees I got to shoot down.
Yeah, essentially that's Division 1 is hit your waypoint to the mission and then get distracted by the millions of things between you and it. And honestly, like, the matchmaking system looks like it's just straight out of Division 1, which is fine because it worked great in Division 1.
Yep.
Like, the menu, the HUD, the abilities, like, all of that is just straight Division 1. Let's just tweak it a little bit.
Yeah, like, there was nothing really wrong with it, so you don't have to reinvent it.
Yeah, they tweaked it and they changed the locations of stuff. It's weird because they realigned the tiles in the inventory. Like, the way your inventory is, and it's like got the dark zone stuff on the right, the caches on that. Flip that like 90 degrees to where they were on the bottom, and that's Division 1. Every time I load up the inventory to open a cache, I'm scrolling down to the bottom. No, back up.
That's my skills. All right.
I mean, like you said, it controls pretty much the same. It's still got the claw dozy door closing animation.
Yeah, the little tap close the door as you're going past. I really like how it plays. I think that's the thing that pushed me into buying this from the open beta is I really like moving into cover feels great. Holding X to move from cover to cover, and there's very clearly like a filling circle on the cover you're going to. When it's full, you let go. Vaulting over cover feels great. Shooting guns blind firing, throwing grenades, like all of that, just the very lowest level foundation of playing the game feels really, 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 really good.
Yeah, it's got a really good hand feel. Like, playing it feels great.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's very much like the first Destiny and Destiny 2 for me. It's like, mechanically, these games are amazing, but they didn't grab me at that end game, whereas Division 2 was the same, except it grabbed me after I went back to it.
Oh, Division 1?
Yeah, whereas Division 1 is like, it's got the same feel, like the right guns have the right kind of punch, you know, they have the right kind of feel. I know my wife right now is running I love the fact that they changed the shield, so there is different shield options, because the shield in the first one was have a shield and a pistol, and if you're lucky, get a sawn-off shotgun at high enough level to use. Now it's like, here's a different shield with no top on it, and you can use like a rifle or a big double-barrel shotgun instead.
Oh, cool.
So it's got a good variety on that, and the best thing is the design. Like, the amount of effort they've put into making everything look real-world is so helpful. Like, the shield that she runs with looks like someone's got a flak jacket and then just opened, like, cut one side of it and then opened it out so it's sitting like that.
Right,
it's
like
just,
opened a book.
Yeah, it's so dumb, but it's so realistic and amazing the way they've done it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, I loved it.
Did they have gear sets in the first one?
They did. That was actually post-game. They added the actual sets.
Oh, cool.
So it was after the Underground, I think they added it, where you get a type of gear from a specific manufacturer, and then if you wear all of that type of gear, you get set bonuses for it.
Yeah, I have one set bonus. I'm working on like 2 different set bonuses right now, but the one I have equipped, 3 of 3, gets me plus 30% skill length. So like when I toss out my turret, it lasts 30% longer, which, as someone who's playing solo, is really good. Because part of the reason why I'm playing solo is when you're playing alone, this game is hard. Like, in a really rewarding way. Like, if you're not using your skills and you're not looking around and you're not moving cover to cover to kind of... The enemy AI is really good so far. Like, if you stay in one spot for too long, they're going to flank you and they're going to kill you. Like, you need to move and you need to start taking down the guys that are coming at you, because they're not going to stop and shoot you from a corner. They're going to come right at you.
Yeah, I love the fact that they've continued the class type on enemies. Like, their symbol is the class type. And it's one of those things where I learned in the Division 1 real early. If you see someone with a lightning bolt next to their name, next to their health bar, you shoot them first, and you shoot them fast, because they will be on you and they will put you down, because their melee attacks are wicked powerful.
Yeah.
Going back to the abilities a touch, like, there are some abilities that I do like.
What are the 2 skills you're rocking?
I unlocked 3 so far, so I have the gas canister that restores armor. Okay, which smart. Is essentially the same as the medkit gun from the first game. Is that the
foam launcher?
It's it's called like a gas launcher, but it's got different options. Like, the basic one is it gives a tiny circle of nanobots that rejuvenate armor. It has variations, which are, here is a firebomb gas cloud that you can just shoot.
That's the one I unlocked. I haven't played with it yet, but that looks super cool.
It also has the foam launcher option, and it has the basically acid gas like option as well.
Nice.
So it's got a lot of variations in there. I miss the fact that I can't have 2, like the base ability and the secondary ability from the first one.
Oh yeah, because you only pick. You pick like a turret, and then you pick the type of turret you have.
Yeah. The other thing I'm running with right now is the attacking drone, which is the normal drone, except it goes and shoots people, which I love, because it's something you might be interested in changing from your turret, because it's a little bit awkward, because you have to control it at every stage of it. Like, you pop it out and it hovers over you and it'll shoot people who get close to you. But you can hit LB and have it fly into the field and shoot somebody who's hiding behind cover.
Yeah, you like target it at someone. Yeah.
And then they will pop from out of cover trying to attack the drone, which gives you the shot to take them down. So it's really handy for like aggressively pushing people who are hiding behind cover and doing their own thing. It's like, no, you're going to run across the field because you've got this drone chasing you, just going pit, pit,
Right.
pit, pit, pit. And it's like into your line of fire, and it works out pretty nicely.
The combo I'm doing with mine, because I have the healing drone and just a normal turret, is what they don't tell you is the healing drone can heal your turret if you point it at... You can point it at the healing drone at other people.
And hit
you can
LB,
also point it at your turret. So you can just sort of use your turret as a tank or as a diversion, like pop it down on top of something, put your healing drone on it, and then scoot around the enemy to kind of flank them a little bit.
Come on, Boston.
Yeah.
Hold the left bumper and throw it on the other side of the map. Don't pop it down and move.
I'd throw it every once in a while if I want to. If there's like 4 or 5 people down in a room that I'm on top of, I'm definitely throwing a turret in the middle of them, and just like they're scattering and it's firing at 5 people. It's really great.
I mean, so far I'm enjoying this game a lot, and
yeah, me too.
The scaling seems to work pretty well. I'm probably going to do what I do with all of these type of games, which is I am going to clear it out area by area.
Yep.
I would rather go into
Assassin's Creed it.
Yeah, I would rather go into the next area overpowered than underpowered.
Yeah,
I can't help it. It's essentially a checklist in video format. So it's like I'm going to clear all these side missions, get all these collectibles, whatever it can do,
unlock all your mods.
Some things I don't like. There are a lot of things I don't like actually, but they're all niggly things. But on the mini map in Division 1, if there was a lootable container near you, it showed on the mini map. Like it had like a little symbol on the mini map. That ability,
now that's a skill, unfortunately.
It's a skill, and it's a timed skill based on donating resources to a control point.
Right.
I don't like that. That's useless. It's not going to do me any good.
Thankfully, you can game it by just going to the person and not donating anything, and it'll still start it. But like that's still not what you want.
No, like that's bad to me. The crafting system is interesting again this time. I've got, let's just say because I'm at the start of the game, I'm collecting so much of everything. Because guess what? It's a box. I'm going to stop and I'm going to loot it because it's got stuff in it.
And you can break down gear and get materials. So like carrying around, you'll pick up like a shotgun that is just garbage. It's like, well, I don't even need to sell this. I'm just going to break it down immediately.
I picked up kids' socks.
I picked up a single wrench the other day, and I was like, cool, maybe a settlement will need that at some point. I don't know.
Why do I have kids' socks? I don't know, but apparently now I have kids' socks.
Maybe you'll run into a kid that's like, hey man, you got any socks? My feet are cold.
Well, probably. It'll be
Let me give you an assault rifle.
Like, maybe it's the theater settlement store that needs socks at some point. I don't know.
There you go, yeah.
I like the crafting changes.
Okay.
Because specifically with regards to the mods, because in Division 1, mods were a loot that you got.
I heard this, yeah.
They just dropped. So it was like, okay, you've got a sight. It's this kind of sight. This is my sight. I will clean it. I will maintain it. I will use it on this gun.
But you're always like hunting for that perfect drop, right?
Exactly. So you're hunting for whatever you think would benefit you to get the better roll on these random drops that you're getting these mods for. Now, it's really weird. Mods are one-time crafting resources or crafting recipes that once you've crafted, you can equip on every gun in your arsenal if you...
Yeah, you just like have an infinite number of stocks.
So it's like, now I have iron sights and I'm going to stick it on every gun that I can have because it's a mod and it helps.
Yeah.
Right now it seems that there are very big negatives to some of the mods. Like one of my sites is like minus 10% damage to elites, and it's like, whoa, hold on.
Yeah. That's one I actually favor because it does more, was it like plus 20 reload speed and then minus 10 I actually kind of like the mod system because
I like the system. It just weirds me out because of the way it's completely reversed essentially from the first one.
Yeah, I do like that there are pluses and minuses. So you can't just... Like, you sort of have to min-max your gun if you're going to use mods. Like, I want to focus on, like, high accuracy and reload speed, but I'm going to do less damage to elites, and I'm going to lose a couple of bullets from my magazine. but I'm going to get, the things that I'm really looking for.
I mean, right now I'm rocking an assault rifle and an LMG because I love LMGs in this game. They just have that really good, heavy feel of, I'm firing an M60.
I should rock an LMG. I'm rocking an assault rifle. I have a craftable police M4 replica that I really like.
Is that triple shot or single shot?
It is full auto. Okay. And then I'm rocking a single shot rifle. So I've got like that short to mid range, and then the rifle has that mid to not quite long range that like a marksman rifle would have, but I have long enough range that I can sort of get both of those distances, and so far that's been working out pretty well for me.
Yeah, so like I'm the same way. Like I do try and do the min-maxing with the guns. So like with my assault rifle, I'm all about critical hits. I'm all about if I can hit a crit, I want you to do as much damage as possible because you're going to be at the distance where I feel confident enough to hit somebody in the head or the stupid little pouch that they've got next to them that's full of explosives for reasons.
I do have to say, I like that you can get status effects on you, like that confusion one, whatever they call it,
that's
messes
so
up your controls.
It's so bad.
I like because a lot of these games will do like, confusion, like your screen is black and white or it's really dark. It's like I'm already behind cover, like that doesn't really matter. But by having my controls reversed, that's a real problem.
Have you seen the full effects of a flashbang yet?
Yes, it's so bad. Like complete silence and complete white screen, and it's just, all right, this is where I die.
I got caught on the edge of one, and it was really beautiful and terrifying because it had this big white ball, like where the flashbang went off.
Oh, wow.
Everything else was like in a black and white art style because it was taking all of the color out of the rest of the world.
Oh, cool.
So it was this really cool effect of like, okay, that was interesting and weird.
Yeah, I'm glad I made it through that.
But yeah, the weapon mod thing, like my LMG, I know I'm not going to go headshots with them.
Yeah.
I'd never try to. I'm always sent to mass with
That's when
LMGs.
You pull it out when a tank is coming at you.
Yeah, so with that thing, I don't care about losing critical stuff. I don't care about, losing critical chance.
Yeah.
Give me the biggest mag you can, and you give me the fastest reload speed you can, and I'm happy.
Right.
Because they put down some serious damage, so... I mean, that's carried over from Division 1, and I do like the fact that now it's like, unlock it once and you're done. You don't have to do the ridiculous grind to get one more number increase.
Right.
For
this one boss in this mission has the best chance to drop this thing, so I'm just going to run this mission forever.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I do like that stuff. But the game is great.
I really like it. Like, and I think
Division 1, but better.
I think for me, I've sat through like 4 out of the 5 bad loot game launches coming up to this. Like starting with Diablo 3. Diablo 3 launched in a bad spot until Loot 2.0. Destiny 1, I was well-documented problems. I didn't sit through the Division 1, but that also had problems. Mm-hmm. Destiny 2 and Anthem. All of those games had all of these problems when they launched. And it's so great to play the Division 2 with a clear vision for endgame, a seemingly really long campaign where both missions and side missions are really pretty meaty.
Yep.
So much stuff to do in the game. And honestly, no server problems, even in the early access stuff. They've been patching it like crazy. They've been working themselves to death to fix some of these major issues.
You just reminded me of something. Go ahead.
And it's just, not only that, it seems solid, it's just fun to play. And it's one of those things where it's like, all right, I have an hour, I'm going to fire up Division. I probably don't have enough time to do like a mission or a side mission, clear out some SDH caches, maybe I'll unlock another control point, I'll do like clean out one of these biohazard things. I've got plenty of stuff to do to kind of keep me entertained, but yeah, from mission 1, mission 2, mission 3. It's not like that. And it's having a lot of fun.
So, did you do what I did and count the studios at the beginning of the game?
Yeah, like, I almost don't want to talk about the intro because thankfully there's really no story in the game because the story that's presented in the game is bad.
I did not like that intro, and at one point during the intro, like the cutscene to open the game, I did laugh out loud and say, "Ha! Not political in the slightest."
Right, because that was the intro that opened up the open beta, and I'm like, ugh, like I love everything else about this, but man, this intro is real bad. But yes, I loved it. It was like published by Ubisoft. I was like, cool. Developed by Massive Games. I was like, oh, that's right, Massive. And it's like also in partnership with Ubisoft Shanghai. And I was like, okay, cool. Ubisoft like Raleigh, North Carolina. Yep. Ubisoft down the street in a warehouse. It's like there's like 7 or 8 Ubisoft studios.
I counted. There's 7 studios in that title, because Massive came up and I was like, cool, good job, Massive. And it was like in partnership with I think you said what it was, Redmond or whatever it was. I was like, okay, that's 2. Is there going to be another one? And there was, and I was like, I'm counting. From this point on, I'm counting. It's 3, I'm counting.
We've hit 3. Like, the whole Ubisoft village really pitched in for this one.
Yeah. It's
definitely not a bad thing. For anyone that might be listening to us, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's funny.
No. Look at Red Dead Redemption 2. I mean, Rockstar North is going to get the props for that, but every Rockstar studio worked on that game.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, so... But yeah, like, this game is good. Like,
I really like it.
I'm so happy. Number one, Ubisoft. They supported The Division when everybody called it a dead game.
Yep.
They did the same thing with Rainbow Six Siege, and look at where that thing is now.
They're trying to do it with For Honor, but that never didn't. Not because of Ubisoft, it just doesn't seem like it's getting any traction.
It's struggling to get traction, yeah. But they're still supporting it. I mean, no matter how many people are there, they're still like in there on it. But yeah, I'm so pleased to see this thing hit the ground, and it's running, and it's running smooth, and it's running well, and people seem to be giving this thing a chance that they immediately wrote off The Division. And The Division had a bad launch. They had to queue to talk to the NPC, just as a reminder, folks.
I totally forgot about that until someone in the Division subreddit posted that picture of everyone lining up to talk to that dude with that laptop, and I was like, oh, that's right.
They literally had to queue up to talk to an NPC.
Yep.
Because you couldn't run past people. And you could stand in a doorway and block people from coming through a doorway because they would play a collision. Like, and
it's nice to see them learn so much stuff from other loot shooters. Like, they learn so much from Division 1. They learn so much from, the stuff that Destiny 1 and 2 did really wrong. They have done a lot of really great stuff.
Yeah, and to be honest, like, good on them. Like, I mean, it tells you how much they learned from Division 1, considering I can already see conflict in my menu, which is their PvP mode. I've already unlocked that. I've already heard whispers about the underground, and I've already heard people talking about the Dark Zone. So that's all of the DLC from Division 1, what seems to be already in this game from the get-go.
Yep. And they haven't launched raids yet. They haven't launched Tidal Basin, which should be coming out pretty soon, that will raise the world tier again, which is something I haven't even started to get into because I'm not even halfway to the level cap. Division 2 is really good.
Yep.
And I'm super happy to have a really great loot shooter that I'm playing, that everyone else is playing right now, and they are all enjoying it too.
So you don't have to go on the Division Defense Force?
No, it's like, so I don't have to sit there alone. I'm like, Division 2 is really good. And everyone's like, shut up, nerd.
Yeah. But you all got to talk about Destiny 2 at some point, so.
That's the only other game I played.
You still get your quota of that. No, that's it. Division 2 is great. If you're playing on Xbox, we have the clan up. You can access it through your friends list. Just add me, send me a message, whatever.
Yep. Yeah, and it's open on all platforms. So if you want to play, you don't have to request or anything. Just hop on in.
Yep.
I played around with Microsoft this past week. Launched the Microsoft Wireless Display app for Xbox One.
Yeah, tell me about this.
I would love to. So the whole selling point behind this is you can take your Windows 10 desktop and mirror it to your Xbox One. I said, perfect. I'll download it in the morning. I have all day to fart around with it. I will figure out how to make this thing work because that seems super cool. I did not get it to work.
Okay.
And it's partially my fault because I want the best for my Xbox One. and it's partially Microsoft's fault because they're too literal. So, it will shock you, like it shocked me, that the Microsoft Wireless Display app only works if your Xbox One is wireless.
Are you
if you're
serious?
using
Because
a wired connection, your Windows 10 machine will see your console, but not be able to. So the biggest thing is on your Windows 10 machine, hit Windows P, basically the projector hotkey. Mm-hmm. It'll show all your monitors, and it should show your Xbox One, like show desktop on Xbox One. That doesn't show up because my Xbox One is not wireless. I'm hoping they patch that at some point. During this week, I'm still going to try to get it to work, because the one thing I really like about the wireless display app is your controller has two modes. One is it's a controller, and it's just a regular Xbox controller. If you hit the hamburger button and the two boxes button at the same time, it switches to controlling your mouse on your Windows 10 machine through your console.
Okay, similar to those two buttons being the original 360 guide button on when you're playing 360 games on the one.
Yeah. Or like if you hit that button on your PC, it opens up Steam Big Picture. So I like that idea that if you just need to do something on your desktop, like, I just want to open up, like let's say Destiny 2 on your PC, I don't have to make a Steam shortcut to do this, to do that, and like fart around with all this other stuff. You just control the mouse, double click, and you're good to go. So I thought I will mess around with that later on wireless, because of course on the Xbox One you can't switch your Xbox to wireless when you have a cable plugged in, because your Xbox says we have a cable plugged in, so I'm not going to let you do that. All right, I get it, but come on. So I fired up my Steam Link, because I have one of those powered on and connected to my TV. Well, why don't I use that? Got it all set up, got it synced to my DualShock 4. I have a spare one down there. Worked just fine with a wired or wireless Xbox controller, or a Steam controller if you're a crazy person. And I got it to work for Steam games on my PC. I still have to mess around with it a little bit, because I think my desktop is running at native 1080p. I think when I'm streaming, it pushes it down to 720p, so everything like looks a little blurrier than it really should be. I'm testing with the thing you test with if you're interested in latency, the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Plus.
Because monitor is your primary monitor?
On these two here?
Yeah.
My right one.
Check which monitor that the Steam Link is set to display out of. Because I have a similar issue. This is 1980 by 1060, or whatever it is. This thing is 980 by 720, whatever. Right.
I have two of the same monitor. So
okay, then I don't know.
Then they're both 1080. So
that's what my issue has been in the past. Is it was going through that monitor, so the resolution was
you're 720p instead of your 1080. Yeah. And it's all the stuff where it's like, all right, I have it up and running. I just need to start messing around with settings. Like I might need to change the video setting in the game to make sure it forces it. But my main thing was, can I get this fired up, and can the Binding of Isaac run without any latency in it? And I can report, yes, it does. So far,
or at least minimal latency.
There's very, very little. It's when you and I have like that, we played Isaac so much, when there's latency, when there's something going wrong. It doesn't feel like there's anything like that. So it's really solid. I think at the end of the day, I would really like to get the wireless display app working on my Xbox instead, because Steam Link is really meant for you to mirror your PC's display to your Steam Link. But the mouse support for controllers that aren't Steam controllers, it leaves something to be desired. And I like that the wireless display app on the Xbox One has already figured that out, where it's like you have the two modes, fire up whatever you need to do, and then just do what you need to do. Because I'd like to play more of that stuff on my Xbox on the couch with my kid, with the family, all this stuff we talked about a couple weeks ago where someone wrote in and said, like, hey, why don't you play more PC games? And when this came up, and I was like, this is exactly what I wanted. Like, this is exactly the solution to that problem, is mirror my Windows 10 PC to my Xbox, and then I just have the Xbox controller.
Yep.
So I'll be messing around with that this week. I hope I can get it to work, because I would like to play some stuff through that and really put it through its paces and see if I can get that running.
Mm-hmm.
The only other game I played this week is Destiny 2. Another big content drop this week, since we're still pretty early on in season of the Drifter. Played a bunch more Gambit Prime. I still really like it. I think myself and looking at the community, we're finding out that the one big piece of feedback we have so far is that when you're in the primeval phase, the fight the boss phase at the end, invader spawns happen a little bit too frequently. So you can sort of get stonewalled in, you start making progress on the boss, someone invades, they'll wipe your whole team, all your progress is gone. Yeah. And then you retaliate against the other team, and it just sort of, it doesn't feel really great. I don't have enough pieces of any of the Gambit Prime gear sets to know how that stuff really works. Tier 3 dropped at the end of... No, dropped this week. Thankfully, Bungie changed it, so you have to be light level 680 to queue for the event, since the event is 680 difficulty. That way, someone like me who's like 670 can't get in there and kind of screw up the run accidentally.
Yeah.
Because I still haven't finished enough runs of Tier 2 to upgrade the item I need to get into Tier 3, which is fine, because I'm leveling up a little bit more slowly. They started a new quest chain called Invitations of the Nine. Xur, the weekly vendor, exotic vendor, gives these out once every week. This is really interesting. This week was run a strike and then gather a bunch of materials from enemies in the EDZ. It was Taken, Fallen, and Cabal, which I think are the only ones that show up on the planet. Didn't take a whole lot of time. Once you do that, you do a special really quick mission in the Drifter's ship, and you get 2 really, really cool cutscenes that flesh out a considerable amount of lore in the game between the Drifter and the Nine. And wasn't super long. I got an exotic at the end of it. It was a duplicate. That's fine. But it's really nice to see them. They have said that they are not interested in really doing a lot of cutscene storytelling. And I'm glad that they're not doing like the traditional 4-hour campaign that has cool pre-rendered cutscenes. I like that they're doing this that they did in Forsaken, they did a little bit in Black Armory, where they're dribbling out story week after week with cool cutscenes, great loot, something that isn't super difficult. I prefer that greatly.
In-game world building rather than just here's a cinematic you can see.
Yeah, and it's every week I can come back and probably get a cinematic or get something storytelling, and they're building up. The thing they did this week is the Allegiance quest launched, where you're pledging your allegiance to either the Drifter or the Vanguard, and it's a permanent choice per character, and it very clearly says this will have long-term effects. So you really need to make the choice that you believe in. I didn't want to go with the Vanguard because I don't like the new character that they unveiled, Honor. I don't like what she's doing. I don't like the cut of her jib. Yeah. I don't like the Drifter very much. I really don't trust him, but he seemed like a better choice.
Well, is that maybe you don't like him because he's deliberately not meant to be likable, so therefore he's a good character, you just don't like him?
Yeah, that's part of it. I mean, he's very much like your dirtbag uncle, where it's like, he's sort of fun, but like...
Wait, when did you meet my uncle?
It's like, he's fun, but like, you will never watch the kids for us, that sort of thing. And he is a really good character. He's a super well-written character. His voice actor is incredible. I have started the Vanguard quest chain on my secondary character, and he starts calling you a snitch throughout. Like, once in a while when you start Gambit Prime, he'll be like, "Hey, nice to see you again, snitch." It's like, great. That's really good. So it'll be interesting to see how this stuff plays out over this season, because it seems like it's very much, here is the story you're picking throughout this season. The Drifter will remember that. It pops up in the right side of the screen. Like, it very much seems like that. And even if it doesn't turn out to be anything really great, I'm hoping that this is them creating a test bed for something in the future. Like, the Christmas event was very much them developing it was an oven you bake cookies in. That's the same item that's the synthesizer in Season of the Drifter. So they very clearly took this little event where they can beta test this stuff and then made a focal point out of it in the future. I'm hoping that that's what this is, where this Allegiance quest potentially turns into something bigger, like the factions returning and your choice really mattering, where you align with one faction, period.
Yeah.
That would be pretty cool. But we'll see. And the other big thing this week is Thorn came back.
So you got
alongside. Yeah, I got it. For anyone, the first question is it as hard to get as it is in Destiny 1? No. Thank God. They did a really great thing. There are 3 short quests at the beginning, and they give you 3 things you can do to make progress on it. It's like, do bounties on a planet, play PvP, or do like Nightfalls. And you'll get progress towards this for doing any of those things. You can do PvE, you can do PvP, it'll all make progress.
Yeah.
Finish those 3, then you get the quest step that was the rough one in Destiny 1 that they fixed in Destiny 2. So in Destiny 1, it was kill enemies with void weapons, void abilities, anything void, and you'll make progress, you die, and you lose progress. That second half was the problem. Thankfully, in Destiny 2, you still have that. It's basically kill with hand cannons, void weapons or abilities. You get faster progress with void hand cannons, even faster progress with void hand cannon headshots, and then super fast progress doing that in competitive or Iron Banner.
Yeah.
That's much better, because I played a run on Twitter, played a couple of competitive matches, did really well, made like 40% progress, decided, okay, that's going to come bite me in a minute anyways, and I'll lose all my competitive points. Let's go to quick play and play a lot of matches and make a little bit of progress.
Yeah.
So did that. The very last step was doing an incredibly challenging strike, mirroring much of the strike in Destiny 1, where you had to kill those wizards when you're avoiding that giant ogre.
Yep.
It's Savathun's strike, Savathun's song strike, the one with that giant shrieker that shoots those purple balls at you. That was really tough. I grouped up with 2 other peeps that were really good, and we had a tough time getting it. But at the end of that, it drops it, and you've got Thorn. So I have played a little bit with it, and I think they managed to figure out a way to make Thorn strong without super overpowering it like it was in the first Destiny. And I don't want to get too inside baseball, but they put an effect on it where if you kill an enemy with it, it still does damage over time and still fires bolts, the normal stuff. It's a fairly solid gun. When you kill an enemy with it, like a green orb floats in the air. If you pick that up, you get 4 bullets back in the magazine, and it powers up your damage over time attack. So instead of doing 2 ticks per, it does, or 2 damage per tick, it does 7 damage per tick. And if you're playing in PvE, that that number grows much, much bigger. So it doesn't feel like it's going to ruin Crucible like it did in Destiny 1. But it still feels really powerful, and it feels good in PvE and PvP. So I think they did right by one of the most infamous guns in Destiny 1 without ruining the game. And I think that seems pretty cool. But I just looked at how long we've been recording. We've been recording for a while, and that's the last thing I played, so let's take a break. Let's talk about releases for the week of March 18th, 2019. Sekiro? Shadows Die Twice comes out for PC and PS4 and Xbox One.
Thank you, Division, for making sure I don't spend any money for a while. A game I'm very interested in playing, but will wait.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what people really think about this, because people really liked Nioh. And people obviously liked Bloodborne. I feel like From Software hasn't really made a bad one of these. I know people say, like, yeah, Dark Souls 2 was not great. But
is this the From one, or is this is the other one the From one?
No, this is From Software. I looked this one up specifically because I was like, okay, is this one, or is that the Sony one? And this is the From Software one.
Okay.
So chances are it'll be pretty good. Fingers crossed. Unravel 2 comes out for the Switch, which
good game.
Seems like good place to play it. Did you ever finish that?
Nope.
Okay. The Messenger comes out for PS4. And
meant to be very good.
Yeah, I already know what it does in its second half, and I would like to play that quite a bit.
Me too.
Yeah. And Chocobo's Mystery Dungeon Everybody comes out on the Switch and PS4. I'm assuming that'll come out on Xbox later. It seems like Square Enix has remembered that Xbox exists. So
sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't see a market for a hardcore roguelike, like a turn-based roguelike, to succeed on Xbox One. But I also don't see it succeeding on the PS4. So
true.
I'm surprised they're still making these. But these games are really good. And no one believes me, and they won't play them. So, but we'll play it someday for We Roguelike It. Go listen if you don't.
101 games.
Yeah. Let's talk about news stories. Literally, the last thing we talked about last week was, boy, I'm curious what Turtle Rock is going to do.
Yeah.
Well, this week they said, hey, we're going to make Left 4 Dead 3, and we're just going to call it Back 4, the number 4, Blood.
Yeah.
So, great. They have Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment, Weeby, publishing it. They are not even winking and nodding. They're very clearly saying, this is a spiritual successor to all the work we did on Left 4 Dead 2 and the DLC. We're just making another one of those. With all the stuff we've learned and with how far games have come since then, let me remind everyone, a decade since Left 4 Dead 2 came out. Taking all that stuff and making Back 4 Blood. They didn't really talk specifically about what that means, but I know they're deep in development. The things they did specify were that it's a premium game. It's not free to play. Mm-hmm. We'll have some sort of PvP. I almost feel like that just means like the Left 4 Dead mode where you have 8 people.
4v4.
4v4. And we'll not have a Battle Royale mode, which I guess isn't surprising, but probably a good thing to come out up front and say, this is not a Battle Royale game.
Yeah, 100 zombies jump out of a plane and then die when they hit the floor.
Yeah, like that's not... Every match is a minute.
Mm-hmm.
No release date, but they're targeting PC, PS4, and Xbox One. And they came out and said they're not working on microtransactions right now. They're working on the core development of the game. They are open to doing it after the game launches, but they say they want it to be something the community really wants.
Yeah.
So all of that is all stuff I would want for a Left 4 Dead sequel. Like, they're sort of hitting all the high points.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. That's how I feel about it, is release the game and then we'll see how it is.
Yeah, and I feel like we'll talk about another anticipated sequel here later in news stories, but it's been a decade, and you sort of have to assume what I'm doing to sort of tamp down the expectations is probably not the same team. Turtle Rock 2009 to Turtle Rock 2019, especially I'm assuming there was probably some pretty high turnover during the development of Evolve. Yep. So Left 4 Dead 3 sounds really good, but I will want to wait and see what that really turns out to be.
Yeah.
Microsoft is bringing Xbox Live to iOS and Android in the Xbox Live Mobile SDK. So I feel like this is one of those news stories that doesn't really sound like anything until Microsoft very clearly says, we're bringing the Xbox Live platform to mobile devices. So mobile devs will have access to integrate achievements, gamerscore, friends list, clubs, hero stats, and some family settings. So if you want to unlock achievements and use your hero stats over in another game on another platform, you totally can at this point.
They did also show on I think it was the Inside Xbox stream, somebody showing playing Forza Horizon 4 streaming on an Android app.
Yeah, on the Cloud X stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that, and that looked good. I mean, it looks as good as a controller strapped to a phone can look on a very tightly controlled presentation, but I think I feel like Google's Project Stream has made me not pessimistic about technology like this working when it comes from someone this big. Microsoft says they're going to do cloud streaming games. I say that could probably work. You guys probably have the infrastructure and the money to just dump at it until it works. And the interesting thing is they said that this live coming to mobile devices push was a direct extension of what they have done with Minecraft, where Minecraft should be on every platform, and they're pushing it to be on everything it possibly can. And I think part of that was them realizing, well, if we can do that with this one game, why don't we see what we can do with the platform, like our online platform?
Yeah.
I thought that was really great. And along the same time, they also announced that Minecraft is coming to Game Pass. And Moon, you and I, for probably about the last 6 months to a year, have been talking about how you can potentially push and sell a streaming-only Xbox One. And I think they just announced that. Because if you can say, like, yo, here's Minecraft, and it's part of Game Pass along with 100+ other games, then I feel like that's a pretty solid thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I feel like if it can come with Minecraft, it can come with Fortnite, come with these really, really big Apex Legends, these really big mass market games, then I think that can work. You bring Minecraft, you bring the Battle Royales, you're probably doing all right.
Yeah, and it's not talked about as much, but Minecraft is still really big, folks.
Yep. Massively huge.
Uh-huh.
There's a reason why Microsoft bought it.
They just stopped talking about it. That doesn't mean it doesn't. It's suddenly a dead zone.
It's still coming out with updates like crazy.
Yeah, they just didn't need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah, they already sold it. Like everyone already bought it. Speaking of Battle Royale, Battlefield 5. They just dropped a trailer for their Battle Royale mode called Firestorm. That drops on March 25th. The big thing they were talking about is supports solo and squad play. Duo play is going to come in a couple weeks. And 16 teams of 4 players. The trailer didn't have any gameplay of it, but I think it gave you the idea of, yo, it's a really big Battlefield map, and it's a battle royale, so you sort of know what you're getting into at this point.
To be honest, Battlefield multiplayer maps were always battle royales, except, you just respawned.
Yeah.
That was the biggest difference.
Yeah. I feel like... I think most people are going to look at Firestorm and say, well, it's probably too little too late. And it might be, but I feel like the Battlefield fan base is big enough that there might be an interest where they don't want to play Apex Legends or Fortnite because they're already playing Battlefield. Mm-hmm. And if you can get that fan base, a lot like, what was the Call of Duty battle royale called? Blackout?
I think so. I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like that did really well for Call of Duty because it changed the formula a little bit and it was inside of Call of Duty, so it's not one of these other... You and your friends are already playing Call of Duty or Battlefield 5, so you're already there. Why not check out Firestorm? Hoping that does pretty well because Battlefield 5's reception has not been as warm as Battlefield 1's was.
Rightly so, because they did so many changes that were terrible.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it.
Well, let me tell you all about how they take the spotting ability off every single class except for a sniper. It's a multiplayer shoot 'em up game. You don't need more reasons for people to be snipers.
Yes. God. How about give it to the medic class? I'd love to have 20 medics on my team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next news story. Netflix is turning Dragon's Dogma into an anime series.
You know what? I would have laughed about this 2 years ago. I watched season 1 of Castlevania. Go right ahead, Netflix.
Just start making whatever you want in anime. And it's nice to know that someone remembers Dragon's Dogma, and I feel like turning it into an anime series will do really well, because it's just crazy enough, and there's just enough lore in there for it to be interesting.
When you say it's just crazy enough, do you actually mean to say it's just anime enough already?
You don't have to adapt a whole bunch. It's just like, all right, just computer generate a lot of this anime, and then hey, just keep the same story.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like Metal Gear Solid.
Exactly.
They did Twin Snakes. They just turned the cutscenes into more like the actual what they should be.
Yeah, you just turned the anime dial up a little bit.
Like 0.5%, dude. That's how much the anime dial's turned up.
Yeah, it didn't need to be much. Looks like Gearbox is teasing Borderlands 3 for a PAX East reveal. They started out pretty subtly teasing this, and then eventually were just posting Borderlands screenshots at the a couple days later. So, like we were talking about with Turtle Rock, had they announced this 5 years ago, I would have been pretty jazzed.
Mm-hmm.
But Gearbox has done a lot of stuff between 2 and 3, and I'm assuming it's a significantly different team from a writing and design and development standpoint. So,
yeah.
And Borderlands 3 has my attention because, it's another Borderlands, and 1, 2, and pre-sequel were all really great. And I like the idea of there being a much larger 1080p, better multiplayer connected, good-looking Borderlands like the Handsome collection was on PS4 and Xbox One, but new stuff. But they don't have my trust, to put it nicely.
Nope. We will see what they make.
Yeah.
I do not know. I will wait for release and see how I feel.
The only thing I would like them to do is put Randy Pitchford back in the office for a little bit.
Get him away from any form of promotion.
Have the director of the game come out and start selling the game. Gearbox needs another face at the company that isn't Randy Pitchford.
Nope. That isn't a magician.
Right. I mean, they could also be a magician, but as long as they're not Randy Pitchford.
Yes. He takes magic to a whole nother level.
Yeah. He's something. Dwarf Fortress is finally heading to Steam and itch.io. Part of this is really interesting because it's sort of going to be a new version. So Dwarf Fortress right now, I know the long title of it, is going to be called Dwarf Fortress Classic, will still be a free download on their website. So that's the ASCII and all that stuff is going to be the same. The version that's launching on Steam and itch is going to have tile art, so it's not going to be ASCII art. I'm sure someone will mod that in real quick. Music, sound effects, and Steam Workshop integration. So I feel like Dwarf Fortress is a really hard game to get into, to really put it mildly. I feel like having an officially supported tile set, and it's in Steam, and it has mod support, I feel like that's really the way to get people into it, is go get it on Steam. It's probably going to be super cheap, and it doesn't look like letters and numbers on the screen anymore. You can probably figure it out a little bit easier.
Yeah, hopefully this helps. This helps with it, because I have tried several times to get into Dwarf Fortress.
Me too.
And every single time, I just end up thinking, hey, I'm looking at computer gibberish.
Yeah, I even bought an O'Reilly book on my Kindle, and I said, all right, everyone says this book is really good. I clearly need something to get into Dwarf Fortress. Let's try this out. And I still failed. The book is really good. It was me. It wasn't Dwarf Fortress.
Yes.
Yeah. And lastly, Heart Machine, the company behind the beloved Hyperlight Drifter that both Moon and I really love, have announced their next game, Solar Ash Kingdom. Not a whole lot there. They say they're still really deep in development, but there's a trailer out that looks a lot like another game that company would make. It looks like it's largely in 3D this time, but kind of keeps the same overall style without looking like, here's Hyperlight Drifter 2, which makes me really happy. And I am really happy to see that team making more stuff.
Yeah.
I was worried
amazing art style in that group.
Yeah. And I was worried it was going to be like the team that made Minute, where it's like, this is the game we're making, and then we're all just going to go do other stuff. We just, the planets aligned to make this one game, and now we're done. So, which is fine. That's okay. But, man, Hyperlight Drifter is a really great game. And it's like us getting Risk of Rain 2, where it's like, I never expected this, and it looks pretty different, but damn, I'm excited.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully Risk of Rain 2 comes out this year. They're still planning on it, but man, first Risk of Rain is so good. Anyways, we have questions from our dear beloved listeners. T-Bomb Rocks in Discord writes in and says, I was just doing some late night cardio and had a close call with a coyote. That's probably the best opening to a question we've ever had.
Let me add on to that. Hashtag Florida man kills coyote while jogging during nighttime.
Oh, yeah? I haven't even heard this story.
Neither have I. It's just T-Bomb lives in Florida.
Florida man strikes again.
This is the start of a headline.
Yeah. After spinning away and catching my breath, it made me think of two questions. Number one, what mascot platformer would you like to get either a remake or a sequel? Mascot platformer.
I know. Dead easy answer for me. Blink's the Time Sweeper. That game was better than people think.
That game was good. Yeah. That and Voodoo Vince were both two games that were good that people looked at and they're like, this is stupid. Like, no, these are good games. Okay. Mascot platformer. I feel like Spyro's come back to a remake degree. Same with Crash. Only other one I could think of. Was that?
Maximo.
Maximo. That was a pretty good game.
The reimagining of Ghouls and Goblins.
They made two of those, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I liked both of those. The only other one I could think of is, for mascot platformer that was anywhere near any good was Gex. But
really?
Even those games weren't super great.
Is everybody forgetting the forgotten son of not a mascot per se, but the forgotten son of the time period, which is Jak and Daxter?
I feel like Jak 2 and Jak 3 put the final nails in that coffin.
Jak 3 put the nails in that coffin. Jak 2 was solid still.
I really liked Jak 1 a lot. That's probably one of my favorite PS2 platformers. Like that and Ratchet and Clank are probably vying for that spot. I feel like Ratchet and Clank stayed the course, all the way through to its most recent movie spin-off game of a spin-off of the game. But I feel like Jak 1 came out and was really good. Jak 2 came out and did a quick 90-degree turn. It's like, all right, this is significantly different.
When you go emo Jak, that's exactly what happens.
Yeah.
He hit puberty and suddenly started listening to those heavy metal tracks and worshiping Satan and everything else.
And they put out the Daxter game for PSP. That was okay. That was all right.
Okay, but...
Yeah. That would be a good one. Jak and Daxter, I feel like you could come back to its roots and maybe potentially make something like an open world platformer. I feel like you could probably do pretty well. That isn't gritty and grim like 2 and 3 were. Because I feel like that.
We don't need another Grand Theft Jak. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no vehicle combat, none of that. That was bad. And his second question is, what is your favorite endless runner? They're really good questions.
I was going to ask how these questions possibly come up during that scenario. It makes sense. Coyote is kind of like a fluffy animal that would be a mascot. And an endless runner is appropriate.
Yeah, what T-Mom was doing away from the coyote. I still really like, I think, everybody's first big endless runner, which was Cannibalt. I still really like that one.
I don't know if I've ever played an endless runner that I enjoyed.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot on, especially on phones, especially like, what's it called? Temple Run, where you're running away from the camera.
That's pretty good. There is Despicable Me Minion Rush, which is also available on phones, which I have played.
Right.
And that thing is by Gameloft, so microtransactions out the wazoo.
I wish that the new Super Meat Boy was out, because that's not an endless runner, but it's like an automatic runner. You're controlling Meat Boy as he automatically runs across the screen. I'm excited for that.
DX is meant to be pretty great, but I haven't played it yet.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of us played Cannibalt and we're sort of like, okay, we got our fix. And like a lot of them are like the Impossible game on phones. That's sort of an endless runner, but not a lot really. I'm trying to think of any, like, it was like that Jetpack game that...
Jetpack Joyride. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, Jetpack Joyride was good. I guess that's an endless runner.
Okay, that was my number one. There you go. That's my best one.
That was a great game. That came to consoles, too, funnily enough.
Don't say that.
I hope it doesn't have achievements for your sake.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
It had achievements on the Windows Phone version, and I got them all.
Oh, yikes. Your dedication to achievements is impressive.
That was like 6 years ago, dude. I still got 2 achievements to get on Despicable Me Minion Rush, and I am not doing that.
Well, yeah, no one has a Windows Phone anymore.
I still do. Thank you very much.
Oh, man. Next set of questions here is from CRAD-Sparky481 in Discord. It says, with the recent release of Anthem and its rocky start, it has 2 questions here. Do you think that it's time to turn it around, or is its fate already sealed?
It's all about the EA.
Yeah, I feel like we talked recently about Warframe, where Warframe, people don't remember, Warframe had a really rough launch and a really rough time for a while, and the developers, who I think are the publishers, stuck with it and eventually made it into the fantastic game it is now. But you're right, like, I'm sure if BioWare had their druthers, they would just stick with this game until they got it right. But the real concern is EA. How quick are they going to...
Is Apex Legends making them enough money for them to accidentally forget about everything else and just focus on Apex Legends?
I think we'll find out when their first Battle Pass comes out.
Yeah.
I feel
$10. $10 and you've got 50 million people buying
Yeah,
thing.
$10 and that's the no-brainer price. $15, you're probably losing a lot of people, but that $10 is, if you play Apex Legends and you see that for $10, it's like, yep, okay. I'll pick it up, sure.
I just hope they do the same thing Rocket League does, which Rocket League has a number of levels on the pass now. I'm not an expert on it because I've never bought them. My wife gets them every time, basically. You've got a number of levels on the pass. You get told what reward you're getting as you get to those levels. Like, it shows very clearly what you get.
Yeah, Fortnite does the same thing.
When you hit the level cap in Rocket League and you go over it, every level that you get over that, it increases your drop rate for rarer items and just keeps dropping stuff for you over and over and over again.
That's great. Yeah, do that. That's great. Yeah. And I think EA is the real thing here. I would hope if a publisher would get into a publishing agreement with a game like this, like a multiplayer loot shooter, that you would want to look at the long tail of it as opposed to just the launch and people burn through it real quick and then sort of put it down for a little bit of time. Because that sort of happens with all these games. Anthem has gotten a less warm reception than many others in the subgenre.
I mean, to be honest, you pointed it out while Anthem, before it was released, the Division's release market and stuff was about 10 times worse than Anthem's. But Anthem was the one getting all the flack for it, not Division.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like when Destiny 1 and Division 1 launched, it was okay for those games to make those mistakes. Because, we're still learning, the expectations and building all this stuff. When Destiny 2 and Division 2 both launched, both of those games knew better, and only one of them took advantage of that knowledge. And it's nice to see one of those games come out and just be really good out of the gate. I don't have to say, if you like loot shooters, it's really good, or if you like the loot grind, it's really good. It's just sort of hey, here's a good video game that you can buy and play now. I haven't even got
up to the loot part properly yet, and I'm just enjoying it.
I do have to say, the Division 2 for me did the thing I love to see in loot games, and I wish their loot drop algorithm guaranteed this in every loot game. And at level 9, I got a purple backpack, and that was my first purple drop, and I had one or two other blue ones. But to me, the perfect drop in one of these loot games is you get that one purple item a little bit early, and you wear it way later than you should, because it's my purple, and I don't want to get rid of it. And these greens are better, but whatever, it's been with me forever. And I wish that every loot game did that, because that feels so good. See, that purple shaft of light come up, and you're like, oh, it's a perp. I gotta go get it.
Wait until you see the golden ones, when it's not one of the missions where you need to pick up the stupid golden thing.
Stupid keys.
Yep.
Stupid massive. Yeah, I'm excited for... I got an exotic as part of the gold collection, which was a shotgun that shot stupid far and was one-shotting people up until I got to level 10. So that was pretty good. But now it's sitting in my stash because I got other stuff to do.
Wait for the infusion option.
Yeah, that's why I put it in the stash, because I know there's some infusion and level up, and I don't even understand it, and it will be a while until I do. One of my notes for Division 2 was, there's a lot of bars and numbers and graphs and stuff, and I don't understand any of them, and I love it.
Yeah, we've barely scratched the game so far. I mean, that's what... Yeah. We don't get access to this stuff early.
Yeah.
You do.
Which is great.
You're a rich fool.
Rich.
Whereas we don't get these 2 weeks in advance. We don't get to go to review events. So I'm level 8 and he's level 9 or 11 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You know what? That's fine. You will go through this journey with us.
Yep. And this game is so good. And his last question here is, are you liking the Division 2 and do you think it's better than the first game? I'll let you answer about whether it's better than the first game in a second. Part of how the Division 2 makes me feel is it makes me regret not picking up the Division 1 after 1.8 came out. And that was the big patch where they fixed a bunch of stuff and here's all this new great endgame stuff. I really wish I would have picked it up then, because playing the Division 2, I'm like, oh, I was right. The Division 1 was really good, and I just never picked it up.
Yep. And in answer to answer, is it better than the first one? It has a better start than the first one did.
Yeah.
The story kind of makes a little bit of sense. They're expecting a lot of knowledge on your behalf of knowing what's going on in New York.
They're throwing out some names, and I'm like, okay.
Yes, they're expecting a lot of that, but the story will fill itself in as you go, I hope.
Yeah.
And yeah, mechanically it plays kind of the same. It still has the same problems, which is if you don't like putting a clip into somebody before they... Sorry, if you don't like putting a magazine into somebody before they die, then you're still not going to like it. But if you like...
I see so many people complaining. They're like, I had to put 2 clips into this dude, and then they died. And it's like, well, you're level 8, and they're level 12. So, yes, it's still an RPG at the end of the day. Like, you're not doing as much damage to them if they were at the same level as you are. Like, that's just how this goes.
It's a video game. Like, you can only go with realism throughout a certain amount of time. Could you imagine, what was it, Samurai Showdown? Like, could you imagine, like, a loot-based shoot-'em-up where everything is real physics? So it's like, oh, one shot in the head and you're down. How quickly would you die?
Right. Yeah, that was Bushido Blade on the PS1.
That's the
it's
one.
Like, yeah, you cut someone's head off and you win. Like, all the rounds. They're dead. Like, that's it. Yeah. The only thing I wish they would have explained a little bit better in Division 2, because I see a lot of people complaining about it, is having trouble understanding the different damage values between guns. Just turn on normalized stats.
Yep.
That's what that is. This gun will now be comparable. This shotgun will be comparable in damage to this assault rifle. And you can tell the difference between the two. So go turn that on. And that's our episode this week. If you'd like to visit us, you can do so at tvgp.tv. All the places to find and follow us on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon. Patreon.com/E1M1, the ones are numbers. Get all the cool behind-the-scenes, exclusive stuff, the early stuff, ODNF, DST, Outcast, and you help us afford this show because it is very much not free, and I don't have a paying job, so, thank you for supporting, very directly supporting the show, and we're not one of those ones that's like, oh yeah, we got $100 this month so I can buy like 3 games on sale. Like, no, this pays for hosting and delivering the show to you very directly. Yep. So not like skimming a game off the top or anything. But if you want to give us more money, then maybe I can pay Moon. Legally, wink.
That will be the day.
Yeah, that will be the day. We talked about Game Club. Out right now is the Game Club recap for Brothers: Tale of Two Sons. And we're going to start the, I guess it'll be 5-week cycle maybe, because, March is 15 weeks long, for Super Hot. That's about a 2-hour game from everything I've seen. So, but you probably have time to play it. And it came out on seemingly everything. And I think that's it. So we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
It is so hot in here.
Stop complaining about the heat, dude. It's still
I know,
cold
I feel
here.
like such a brat complaining about it.
Oh,
73
it's too
right
warm. My feet got feeling in them.
Yeah, I know. Like, it's the first time I can use my hands in months. It's great. All right, hit me with those titles.
Oh, okay. A long one, probably vetoed. A depressing introversion on life. It's got a good flow to it. It's got a good
it's a little
mouthfeel.
I really love it, but it's like a tad too long.
Every single dangly thing. 50 minutes, ! I know you have one similar to that just after the fact.
Yeah, I have 50 minutes later, my butt.
Yep. Claw dozy animation instead of door closing animation.
So what is it?
Claw dozy animation.
Claw
Because for some reason I couldn't say door closing.
My hand didn't want to write that one because my brain was thinking door and I was writing C and my brain's like, no, stop. That's do not.
I picked up kids' socks.
I don't know if I can say that one. I picked up kids' socks.
With all the recent controversy, probably not.
Yeah.
And a good hand feel, because
I wrote that down too. I wrote down really good hand feel. That's what you said. I have different schluters. I don't want to pass on schluters. I find it funny and infuriating at the same time. I find looter shooters worse. I prefer loot shooters because I hate stuff that rhymes. I'm weird. I'm weird for a lot of reasons.
Stuff that rhymes, but you love a good cadence, as the show titles throughout the past 500 and change episodes can tell you.
I'm a weird dude, man.
You know, rhyming is just a different type of cadence, don't you?
Yeah, cadence for losers. I have He Doesn't Come From the Moon, which I really like.
Okay.
Xbox Plus and PS Gold. 50 minutes later, my butt. DC just stinks. New York in the 70s. Really good hand feel. 50, which is 50 question mark, exclamation mark, and Chlor Dozy animation. There's a lot of good Division 2 ones.
Yeah.
50 minutes later, my butt is really good.
I think that, Chlor Dozy, and a really good hand feel all take my 3 votes, I think.
I really like really good hand feel.
It probably also helps that I've made that reference like 3 times today.
I know, it's really good. I would almost go for really good hand feel.
Yeah, let's go for it.
It doesn't really mean anything, but you know what it means.
Yeah. Well, we know what it means because I made a different reference, but similar, like related, like twice already.
Right. Okay.
I've got nothing for that. How am I supposed to reference that without making a direct vaping joke? I mean, come on.
Or like saying something creepy, where you'd be like, hand feel. But then that's just like pushing people away from the show.
I got something.
Okay.
I got something.
All right, starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 595 from March 18th, 2019. Really good hand feel.
Some solid schluting there.
You son of a... All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching us live. We will be back next week. Bye.
Bye.
And goodbye, everyone, for the patrons.